You're going to train again, aren't you?
Uh-huh. I'm gonna practice with Whis some more at Beerus's place.
Cool! Can I come with you?
I don't see why not.
No! Oh, come on, Mom! I want to get super strong just like Dad!
The sun was shining brightly over Earth, and Goten was training alone in an open field. He had just finished a series of exercises, but he felt like something was missing. He looked up at the sky and sighed. Goten said, "I want to get stronger, but I don't know how. My father and Vegeta are always busy, and Trunks has his own training too. I need someone who can guide me." It was then that he had an idea. He knew that Whis, the angel who trained his father and Vegeta, was one of the most powerful people he knew. With his mind made up, Goten flew towards Bulma's house, where Whis and Beerus usually stayed when they visited Earth. When he arrived, Goten found Whis standing in the garden, holding his staff. The angel seemed to be in a serious conversation, with holographic images of his sisters, Vados and Margarita, projected onto his staff. Goten spoke, approaching timidly. "Whis, can I talk to you?" Whis turned around, surprised, and said, "Ah, Goten, what are you doing here?" Goten spoke with eyes full of hope. "I was wondering if you could train me. I want to become stronger like my father and Vegeta." Whis frowned and gave a light laugh and said, "Oh, my dear Goten, I would love to help, but I'm very busy right now. I have to train Broly to control his ki, and I still owe training sessions to Vegeta and Goku. Besides, I'm talking to my sisters about important matters." Whis pointed to the images of Vados and Margarita, which were projected on his staff. Goten lowered his head in disappointment and said, "Okay, I understand. Nothing ventured, nothing gained. Who knows, maybe another time you can train me." However, on the other end of the call, Belmod, the god of destruction of Universe 11, who was standing next to Margarita, stared at Goten. He recognized something in that young man. Belmod spoke, leaning forward. "Wait a minute. Whis, who is this kid? He looks familiar." Whis raised an eyebrow and said, "Oh yes, that's Goten, Son Goku's youngest son." Belmod replied surprised, "Youngest son? I thought Goku only had one son, the Gohan who participated in the Tournament of Power." Whis explained, "Well, he has two sons actually. Goten is the youngest." Belmod looked at Goten with renewed interest. He remembered how Goku had impressed everyone during the Tournament of Power, and now he saw similar potential in his son. Belmod spoke, a twinkle in his eye. "Whis, I have a proposal. If you're too busy to train the boy, why not let him come to Universe 11? Margarita can train him. She's an excellent teacher, and I'd like to see what this young man can do." Whis thought for a moment, scratching his chin, and said, That's an interesting idea. Goten, what do you think?" Goten was excited, but his joy disappeared in seconds when he remembered his mother. Goten said, "I would love to, but my mother would never let me go to another universe. Besides, she wants me to focus on my studies." Belmod laughed with a confident expression and said, "Don't worry about it. The training will be quick. Your mother won't even notice that you're gone." Goten hesitated for a moment, but his excitement was greater. Goten spoke with a radiant smile. "Okay, I'll go." Whis nodded and raised his staff and said, "Very well, let's go then." Whis used his staff and summoned his cube to go to Universe 11 with a simple movement. Goten took a step forward, but before he looked back, imagining Chi-Chi's reaction if she found out, he took a deep breath and entered the cube. After a few minutes in Universe 11, upon arriving at the universe he had never set foot in before, Goten was greeted by Margarita, the angel of Universe 11, and Belmod. The planet was stunning, with landscapes Goten had never seen in his life. Margarita spoke, examining Goten with interest. "So you are the son of Son Goku. Let's see if you inherited your father's talent." Goten spoke with determination. "I'll do my best." The training began immediately. Margarita was a strict but fair instructor. She taught Goten how to control his ki in ways he had never imagined. He learned advanced combat techniques and how to channel his energy more efficiently. Margarita spoke as she watched Goten practice. "Concentrate, Goten. Ki isn't just brute force, it's an extension of your being." Goten replied, sweating profusely. "I'm trying, but it's harder than it looks." Belmod watched from afar, impressed by Goten's progress. Belmod said with a satisfied smile, "He's really talented, maybe even more than Goku was at the same age." As the days passed, Goten began to show signs of a latent power that not even he knew he had. Margarita decided to test his limits. Margarita spoke in a serious tone. "Goten, today we're going to do something different. I'm going to teach you a technique that only the gods of destruction master." Goten replied, his eyes wide. "A technique from the gods of destruction?" Margarita replied, "Yes, but be careful, it requires absolute control of your ki. If you fail, the consequences could be catastrophic." Goten agreed and the training continued. He learned to channel his energy in a destructive but controlled way. It was a difficult process, but Goten was determined to master the technique. After weeks of intense training, Goten was almost mastering the technique. Belmod was impressed by the young man's progress. Belmod said with a proud smile, "He's almost ready." Goten asked, confused, "Almost ready for what?" Margarita replied with an enigmatic smile, "To become a god of destruction." Goten was shocked and without understanding anything said, "A god of destruction? Me? But why? This is part of the training." Belmod replied, "You've already shown that you have the potential. Now, all that's left is to accept the role." Goten thought for a moment. He knew it would be a great challenge, but he also saw it as an opportunity to protect those he loved. Goten said with determination, "All right, I accept." Margarita smiled and held out her staff. A stream of energy enveloped Goten, and he felt immense power flow through him. When the light dissipated, Goten had transformed. He now knew what it was like to be a god of destruction from Universe 11. Margarita said with a proud smile, "Congratulations, Goten! Now you are almost a god of destruction. Remember, I only gave you a little bit of the power of destruction, but if you train well, in the end you will receive a costume similar to Belmod's." Goten looked at his hands, feeling the power that now resided within him. Goten said with a confident smile, "Wow, clothes like Belmod's? That's going to be amazing! I can't wait to wear the clothes of a god of destruction. I promise to use this power to protect the universe." After the first part of the training was almost complete, Belmod was surprised by Goten because his evolution was faster than Toppo and even Jiren, and now they will go to the next stage of the training. He would do this on planet Earth. After all, Chi-Chi might be worried about her son, and with that, Whis decided to return home using his cube. After a few minutes, Goten returned to Earth. Chi-Chi, as expected, didn't even notice that he had left. Goten decided to keep his training a secret for now, knowing that his mother wouldn't approve. Chi-Chi asked as he entered the house, "Where were you, Goten?" Goten said with an innocent smile. "Oh, I was just training with Trunks." Chi-Chi sighed and replied, "Well, at least you're exercising. Now go wash your hands. Dinner is ready." Goten smiled and went to the kitchen, knowing that his life had changed forever. He was now almost a god of destruction, but someone was approaching his house and Goten felt it from afar and knew very well who that key belonged to. Vegeta arrived at Chi-Chi's house, feeling a strange and powerful energy. He opened the door abruptly, his eyes wide. Vegeta spoke in a warning tone. "Chi-Chi, what's going on here? I can feel the energy of a god of destruction." Goten stepped forward, a little nervously, and said, "Vegeta, I have something to tell you." Chi-Chi crossed her arms, irritated, and said, "What did you do this time, Goten?" Goten took a deep breath and explained everything. His trip to Universe 11, his training with Margarita, and his rise as God of Destruction. Chi-Chi turned pale, while Vegeta looked at Goten with a mixture of shock and anger. Vegeta said with a sarcastic smile, "So you, a boy, have achieved what I've been seeking for years. Show me if you're capable of using Hakai." Goten hesitated, but decided to prove his power. He raised his hand, and a small sphere of purple energy appeared, ready to destroy anything in its path. Chi-Chi shouted, "Goten, stop it now!" Vegeta laughed, impressed, and said, "Well, it seems we have another bearer of the destruction energy. Goku will be happy to hear that. But let's go outside and I'll show you my Ultra Ego in action." Chi-Chi fainted instantly, while Goten and Vegeta exchanged glances. On planet Earth, Vegeta and Goten flew side by side, crossing the sky in search of a desolate area until they found it. The landscape was arid, with rocky mountains and hills. Behind them, Margarita and Whis followed, watching intently. The air was charged with energy and the tension was palpable. Margarita spoke with a serious tone. "Goten, this is the final part of your training. You must prove that you have completely mastered the power of Hakai. If you fail, you will not be able to assume the power of a god of destruction." Goten looked back, determined, and said, "I understand. I will show that I am ready." Vegeta, who was next to Goten, crossed his arms and looked at the gods who accompanied them. He was surprised to see Belmod and Margarita there, but did not pay much attention. After all, he had his own goals. Vegeta said with an arrogant smile, "Well, it seems we have a luxurious audience. Goten, do you really think you can master Hakai? Let's see if you're capable of facing Ultra Ego." Goten looked at Vegeta, a little nervous but confident, and said, "I'll try, Vegeta, but don't expect me to hold back my energy." Vegeta laughed, and his aura began to glow in an intense purple tone. His muscles expanded, and his transformation into Ultra Ego was complete. His energy was overwhelming, and Goten felt the weight of the pressure. Belmod watched with a satisfied smile and said, "This is going to be interesting. Let's see if the boy really deserves the power of a god of destruction." Whis, always calm, just watched with interest and said, "Vegeta is taking this seriously. Goten will have to do his best." Vegeta attacked first, moving at incredible speed. His punches and kicks were precise, and Goten could barely keep up. The young Saiyan tried to defend himself, but Vegeta's strength was relentless. Vegeta said with a mischievous smile, "What is it, Goten? Did you think it would be easy? The power of a god of destruction is no joke." Goten took a deep breath and concentrated his energy. He knew he needed to use Hakai to have any chance. With a quick movement, he created a sphere of purple energy in his hand and threw it towards Vegeta. Goten shouted, "Hakai!" Vegeta dodged it easily, but the energy sphere destroyed an entire mountain behind him. The impact was so strong that the ground shook, and a wave of energy spread throughout the area. Vegeta said, impressed, "Not bad, kid, but you still have a lot to learn." Vegeta counterattacked, launching a series of powerful blows. Goten tried to defend himself, but was hit several times, throwing him backwards. He fell to the ground but got up quickly, determined to continue. Goten said with a confident smile, "I won't give up, Vegeta. I promised that with the power of the god of destruction, I would protect the universe alongside my father and yours. I would never be a weak boy again. From now on, I am just like you, and I will keep that promise." Goten concentrated all his energy and created an even larger Hakai sphere. This time he launched it with precision, aiming directly at Vegeta. The Saiyan Prince tried to dodge, but the sphere hit him head-on, causing a gigantic explosion. When the dust settled, Vegeta was standing but visibly tired. He looked at Goten with a smile of respect. Vegeta said, "Well, it seems you're taking this seriously, but it's still not enough to defeat me." Margarita, who was watching everything from afar, decided to intervene. Margarita said, "Goten, you've shown that you can use Hakai, but there's still something missing. You need to prove that you can control this power completely." Goten looked at Margarita, confused, and said, "What else do I need to do?" Margarita smiled and raised her staff. Margarita said, "You need to face the true power of a god of destruction. Belmod will test you." Belmod stepped forward, smirking and saying, "Let's see if you can survive my Hakai. Vegeta, from now on leave the rest to me." Belmod created a sphere of purple energy much larger than any Goten had ever seen. He threw it towards the young Saiyan, who tried to defend himself but was swallowed by the explosion. When the dust settled, Goten was standing, holding an energy barrier. He had survived, but he was at the end of his rope. Goten said, panting, I did it." Margarita smiled, satisfied. Margarita said, "Congratulations, Goten, you passed the test." Whis approached with a gentle smile. Whis said, "Well, it seems we have a new god of destruction or someone with the power of one. Ha ha ha. Goten, are you ready to take on the clothes of a god of destruction?" Goten looked at everyone around him and answered with determination. Goten said, "Yes, I am ready." Margarita raised her staff and created a new outfit for Goten. It was an elegant outfit with details similar to Belmod's clothes, symbolizing his new status as God of Destruction. Margarita said, "This is your new outfit, Goten. Let it serve as a reminder of your responsibilities and your new power, and use it wisely." Goten looked at himself, impressed, and said, "It's amazing. Thank you, Margarita." Vegeta, who had been watching everything, crossed his arms and smiled. Vegeta said, "Well, it looks like you made it, kid, but don't think that means you're stronger than me." Goten laughed and replied, "Of course not, Vegeta. I still have a lot to learn from you." With his new outfit and his new title, Goten returned to his house. Chi-Chi, who was still recovering from fainting, looked at him with a mixture of pride and concern. Chi-Chi said, "Goten, are you okay? What happened?" Goten smiled at his mother and said, "I'm fine, Mom. I just grew up a little." Chi-Chi sighed but couldn't help but smile and said, "As long as you're safe, everything's fine." Goku, who had arrived home, looked at Goten with a proud smile. Goku said, "It looks like my boy has become a god of destruction. How proud." Goten laughed and replied, "Thank you, father. Now shall we train together?" Goku replied with a wide smile, "Of course, son, always." And so, Goten began a new journey, balancing his life as the power of a god of destruction and a Z warrior. And after a few minutes, the food that Chi-Chi had been making was ready, and everyone was gathered at Chi-Chi's house, celebrating Goten's new achievement as the god of destruction. The table was full of food, and the atmosphere was one of joy and relaxation. Vegeta, despite his arrogant behavior, seemed pleased with Goten's progress. Belmod and Margarita were present, watching everything with a calm smile. Even Whis seemed to be having fun, enjoying Chi-Chi's dishes with enthusiasm. Goten, still wearing his new God of Destruction outfit, looked around and felt a wave of gratitude. He then noticed that his father, Goku, was standing a little away with a calm smile on his face. Goten spoke, approaching him. "Dad, where were you all this time? I felt your energy a few times, but you never showed up." Goku laughed with a playful look. Goku said, "I was nearby, Goten. Ever since you went to Universe 11, I decided to keep an eye on you. I wanted to see how you would handle everything on your own." Goten was surprised and said, "So you were watching me the whole time? Why didn't you show up?" Goku put his hand on his son's shoulder and said, "Because I knew you needed to do this on your own. And look, you exceeded all expectations. I'm proud of you, son." Goten smiled, feeling emotional. Goten said, "Thank you, Dad. That means a lot to me." Chi-Chi, who was nearby, interrupted the conversation and said, "Well, now that everyone is here, let's eat. Goten, you need to recover your energy after all that training." Everyone laughed and gathered around the table. Goten looked at his family and friends, feeling grateful for each and every one of them. He knew that his life as the god of destruction would be full of challenges, but with everyone's support, he was ready to face whatever came his way. Guys, this is how we end today's video. If you liked it, it's important that you leave your like and subscribe to the channel. And of course, don't forget to help the channel. So be a sponsor, link in the description. Bye!